We come on the air tonight with a solemn and earnest message. You know, sometimes the news of the world can be tough. As journalists, it is important for us to inform you about what is happening in the community, but that does not change the fact that these stories can weigh heavy and they can hurt. We bring this up especially tonight as several events across the country and world have developed within the last 24 hours. Body camera footage has been released tonight showing the deadly police beating of a man in Memphis. We're also getting our first look at the hammer attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. And on this day, the world commemorates the victims of the Holocaust. A gunman opened fire outside a synagogue in Jerusalem. Now, each of these incidents show us a raw, unfiltered look at the brutality in the world. And of course, it's going to stir emotions in many of you. We do think it is important to bring these stories to light so that you are informed about what is going on around you. But we also do want to let you know that there are resources out there to help if you feel like this is just too much to deal with. One example is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, which can be reached by dialing 988. We'll show this number again in the newscast as we conclude coverage of these troubling stories. And so with that, we do want to start with that recently released video from Memphis. It shows officers beating 29-year-old Tyre Nichols during a traffic stop on January 7th. So the City of Memphis posted 4 different videos to its website. 3 are body camera videos from officers, and then 1 comes from a camera mounted on a utility pole. The clip you are about to see will be footage from one officer as they make the initial traffic stop, and eventually another officer pulls Nichols from his car. You will then see a white flash, and the video will then move to the utility pole footage where you can see multiple officers hitting and pushing Nichols to the ground. Now, the city has released this footage with sound, but we want to let you know that we are not airing the audio simply because it is filled with profanity. It is not fit to air. We're also declining to show the most graphic portions of this beating because they are absolutely so disturbing. So now you know what we're about to show you, and we will share again once with you that once again this is extremely troubling to watch. So we're stopping the video at that point because it is extremely hard to watch, but we want to describe what happens next so you know the scope of the interaction here. So over the next 3 minutes, we see on this video more officers pile on Nichols. Video shows an officer punching him in the face over and over. Officers also bring out their batons, hitting Nichols all over his body. And the officers then stand up Nichols and punch him again in the face multiple times. The punches hit him directly like a boxer would have hit him. The officers take him back down to the ground where you could see them kicking him. And then afterwards, they place him in a seated position on the ground against a car. So we did mention that the footage has audio. At one point, one of the body camera picks up him crying out for his mother several times. And we've also learned from this video, based on the timestamp of the utility pole camera, a medical team is not visible until more than 25 minutes later. Now, the department has fired 5 officers since this incident. They're all charged with second-degree murder, among other crimes. And in the last hours, it was announced that 2 deputies who appeared at the scene have been relieved of duty pending an internal investigation. As we mentioned, we are not showing the more graphic parts of this video at this time. However, if you want to watch this, all of it, it's on our app and website. Once again, the article, you'll have to click to another link in there to view the full clips. And calls for change have been going on since Nichols' death on January 7th. But tonight, people across the country filled streets to protest once the video came to light. Nichols' mother and other family members have asked anyone who protests to do so peacefully because that's what Tyre would have wanted. The NAACP and other local groups plan to protest here in Charlotte tomorrow. That's set for 1 p.m. at the Mecklenburg County Courthouse. President Biden is also weighing in on this video. In a statement, he says, "Like so many, I was outraged and deeply pained to see the horrific video of the beating that resulted in Tyre Nichols' death. My heart goes out to Tyre Nichols' family and to Americans in Memphis and across the country who are grieving this tremendously painful loss." His statement goes on to say we must do everything in our power to ensure our criminal justice system lives up to the promise of fair and impartial justice, equal treatment, and dignity for all.
Charlotte leaders are also showing their outrage, calling for change. Mayor Vi Lyles, for example, saying the community must demand accountability. CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings tweeting earlier today that he agrees with the Memphis police chief's actions in firing those officers, especially after she called it the most disturbing video she's seen.
Now, we want to share this as well. This is what loved ones want you to remember about Tyre Nichols. The 29-year-old was a former FedEx worker who loved to take pictures. In fact, on the night of his attack, he was on his way home from photographing the sky. Tyre was a father. He had a 4-year-old son. His family says he loved to skateboard, and he was living in Sacramento, California before coming to Memphis just ahead of the pandemic. Above all, his family says he was joyful and lovable.